Hello, welcome back to Property Spy. This is a channel where we look at properties. We're all investors and we discuss the different things you need to look at and look for when you're about to purchase any property. Well, as investors, we want to put money into a property and get some money back. We want to invest, we want some returns and want some profits. Now today, we're going to look at a HMO that's going to auction in the coming days. Now, in this spying event we're going through, guess what? We're not actually going to do any development or add any value of such, but there is an opportunity with every property. What we try to work out on this channel is how much we should invest, how much we should offer, and how much that deal is worth to us or should be worth to us. But today I'd want us to go through the different things you need to look at if you want to purchase this type of property at auction in a place called Derby in the UK. Now, this one caught my attention, primarily because of the price. 1.6 million, that's a huge amount of money. But when you dig in, a huge amount of money for Derby. When you dig in, you see, there's quite a bit that's been offered with at this price. It is an auction property, so it might be 1.6 million. They've priced it a bit low, I think, to get people in, but not many people have 1.6 million. So you've got that balancing act as the auctioneer. But as the investor, what opportunities do you see when you look at this property? Look at this opportunity at this lot that's going to auction. Well, first thing that jumps to mind is it's got 40 bedrooms, right? So as the investor, do I have the capacity to manage 40 bedrooms? Can I take on 40 different individuals and be able to run the property profitably and not be stressed out? If I live in London and I've got 40 units or 40 bedrooms in Derby, how am I going to manage it? That's your first question. Because there's no point if you've got 1.6 million putting it into this property and then you're stressed the whole time and you haven't got the systems in place to make sure that this will run itself almost. Well, there's no such thing as passive income because nothing is truly passive. Eventually everything degrades unless you manage them. So the same goes for HMOs. Now this is being touted as a property that's ready to go, is tenanted, you've got money coming in, and quite a substantial amount of money, 194,000, right? Now with HMOs, most times you have to pay the bills, so you'd expect to pay the bills on here. And with bills having gone up recently, that's going to hit the bottom line. And everybody that's investing in large units is subject to the same situation. So it's not just unique to this lot. But when your bills are going up, then what you have to sacrifice also goes up and your profits hit. And I'm not convinced that you'd be able to pass on all of that increase in bills to your tenants. Okay, so what do we have here? We've got 40 bedrooms arranged over 4 floors. Okay, but you've got how many separate properties? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 separate properties. 126 to 132B properties. Okay. The wonderful thing about this is that it's fairly, it's arranged in a modern style, in that most people now, or since COVID, have tended to prefer to have their own bathroom facilities. And guess what? This has every single bedroom is en suite. That's beautiful. That's amazing. I don't know what the cleaning arrangements are likely to be on here, but if the tenant is responsible for cleaning their room and their bedroom, then it sort of is a good thing because it's your own dirt in your own bedroom, and it's for you to manage that. If the contract stipulates that the landlord arranges for a cleaner to turn up 2 or 3 times a week, then that all hits your bottom line. So when you see 194,000 or 197,000, whatever that figure was, that is the income. But from that income, you need to start deducting different things. So cleaning of the communal space, nobody's going to be responsible for cleaning the communal space. You'd have to pay for that. Then you need to look at the bills, the gas, electric, water, And council tax is a tricky one because students don't pay council tax, but you need to find out what the rules are in this particular area. So this, in my opinion, is quite a nice layout, all en suite. You've got a kitchen on this floor. So kitchen on this floor for 126. There's only one kitchen. And how many people share? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 people share this kitchen. Okay, so think about how they would arrange their items in the kitchen. Each one, some HMOs have separate cupboards for each room. You may want to do that. But this looks like they've really provided as many amenities as possible to all the guests. You've got a communal space on the ground floor, so that's fine. Let's look at the next one. So it's en suite. You've got a communal kitchen as well, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 people sharing this kitchen in this property. It's quite a lot of people sharing a kitchen. And for that, you also need to it's worth looking at the HMO regulations as to how many people can share a kitchen and over how many floors. So if you've got 4 floors, some areas stipulate that you must provide a kitchen for every 2 floors. But obviously, if this one is licensed, then it must be okay. But you need to verify that. Then, so this is all well and good. So you got a kitchen here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So different layouts. So 5 bedrooms here. All en suite, different sizes. These are almost arranged like hotels, so that's quite interesting. And what's this? 132. So this is 132B, 132. So always make sure you know what you're buying before you leave your house to go viewing. Just have a quick look and make sure that it ticks the boxes and it's what you want. There's what the property looks like. Okay, that's not too bad. And the literature says there is parking for 9 cars. So I wonder if there is the possibility of charging for each parking space. That's what some people do. If they're all students, then most of them may not have cars, and so it might not be an issue. But I can see cars in front of the building, so some people are obviously parking there. So it looks okay, not amazing. But as I say, there are many bedrooms in a small space, and it needs managing. Now let's look at the figures, which is what we're mostly interested in. If you are an investor, in this case, it doesn't look like you can do any development to add more rooms or do anything differently. What you'd have to do is sweat the asset. So 126 makes 36,000, almost 37. This one 37. 44 for 8 bedrooms. So that comes to 194. You'd need to validate that this is the correct amount and this amount is in line with what the area can command. Now, some of the risks to bear in mind. So if we bring up the calculators here, we've got, so did some quick maths earlier. If we do 36,960. So roughly, let's get a rough estimate. That's how much each flat is paying. So 5,280 per annum. We divide that by 12. We get 440 per room. Let's look at the one that's 9 bedrooms. How much are they paying? 440. 968. That's 37,968 divided by 9, we divide by 12, so 350 for the 9 bedrooms. Okay, so I'd imagine because there are more bedrooms and there are more people sharing, so it's come down to about 350. So in the 7 bedrooms, you've got they're paying 440, and in the other one they're paying 350. Okay, that sounds reasonable. If we look at a website called spareroom.co.uk, that's where you tend to see a lot of HMOs that are on the market. So I did a search earlier to save us some time. You don't have to subscribe or anything to get on there. You just go on the web page and you can search for rental properties. But if you want to do more, you have to subscribe or register. So you've got 480 to 525, and they're offering £50 off on your first month rent. So that suggests no fees, no deposit, no rent up front, one double bedroom available in house share. Okay, so that suggests they're incentivizing people to come in. That obviously will set alarm bells ringing. You just have to think about why people would be offering incentives for tenants to rent their property. Okay, so this one is so 325. Okay, that's fairly low. But the thing to bear in mind is there aren't short of options. This one looks nice. Let's see, what's this? So I clicked on this one because it stands out, and to be fair, none of the ones I saw in that picture stood out to me. This looks really nice if the room is genuinely set up this way. Very nice, very modern, very new. So this is what you're competing against, and it seems to be in a residential area. Ashburn Road. How much is it charging? Okay, there are multiple rooms. They've put the best room on here, I think. So you've got £600, £600, and 4 bills included. Yes. So only one's en suite, and it's 128 per week. 128 per week for rough maths would be. Let's do the calculator again. 128 per week times 52 divided by 12, 550 a month for a 12-month year. I say that because students generally just spend about 9 to 10 months in the property. So 550, and this is not looking bad if the property genuinely is like, okay. So the idea and reason to come in here is to see what your competition is like. You also need to speak to agents in the area to make sure that there will be demand going forward. And the reason I say that is if you look at Google, just do a quick search for demand for HMO in Derby, and you'd see, what's this? 700 bed student complex set to be built. So you click on there, you see, right, okay, they got planning to build, let's see, let's reject all. Okay, so that's it. Okay, so 700 units, how long is it going to take for this to come on? Let's give it 2 years. So in 2 years' time, you'd have 700 units competing with your property. So clearly, comes after a new 270 bedroom student accommodation building in Trafford was granted out by planning permission. Okay, so this article is very useful. And why is that? It's useful because you need to find out what else is happening in the area. What's tended to happen in a lot of university towns is that a lot of the not so big HMO providers or student accommodation providers have lost out to the more modern accommodation provided by either the university or the university in conjunction with a big provider like Unite and stuff like that. So that's something to look at. So clearly, if that 260 planning permission is implemented and you've got 700, suddenly you've got 900 units to compete with. So think about the long term. Yes, it's fantastic that you're making 190 something thousand, less 15% for management if you're not going to manage it yourself, and your bills and everything. Let's say you end up with £120,000. That's £10,000 a year from property. That's brilliant. That's an amazing income. But the threat to your income is stuff like this. So 700 beds in 2 years' time, plus another 250 that was there already, plus whatever else is being built. So these are things to consider. Now, the other place I look at is valapp.io. Valapp.io. I did a search earlier, so I registered one of the properties, and it gives me an idea as to what rooms are achieving in Derby and in that postcode. So here it's split into the different types. You've got double room with ensuite, double room, shared bathroom, and single room with ensuite. So in our case, we've got double bedrooms with ensuite. That's the assumption. Now the prices are between the 100% of prices fall within the £96 per week to £173 per week. Now I don't think the property we're looking at will get £173 per week. So you're more likely to be down the £96 per week. So £96 per week, just for context, is 96 times 52 weeks in a year divided by 12 gives you £416 a month. Now, if that is the case, and that is usually what you'd achieve for ensuites, then one would argue that perhaps these 9-bedroom units have some scope for an increase in value from 350 that you're achieving to even 375 or 390, and that adds to your bottom line. So these are things that you think about. So as an investor here, you're thinking, okay, can I increase this rent and get me up to 200,000 or 210,000? How would that happen? Is the rent currently in line with the local local rate? The property benefits have already been let. Okay, it's been let for 2022 to 2023, so you might not be able to do anything immediately. But when the current rents all lapse, then you can go and potentially increase. So that's something to look forward to if you want to do this. But looking at this as pure yield, as a yield play, this is fantastic yield for 1.6 million. So if we bring the calculator again, so we've got 194,016. That's the total rent per annum divided by the guide price. Yeah, and we times that by 100. We get 12.126, so roughly 12% yield. That's not bad in this day and age, especially with property prices being so high and competition for things so high. Now the £1 million question is, who's going to spend 1.6 million purchasing it? The other thing to look at could be, well, you could buy all 4 properties or all 5 properties, split them up and sell them separately. And if you split up all the properties and sold them separately, could you achieve 400 per property, 400,000? If you could, you're already ending up with 2 million. So those are things to look at as the investor. You do your investigation, you do your research, you do your due diligence, you speak to local agents, you visit the area. But before you do any of that, we do the desktop research. So right now we're already asking ourselves a question: what's the competition likely to be at? What is the future plan? What are the future plans in the area? What are other properties looking like? This looks really nice. People will click on this before they click on any of the rooms we've seen, even though the rooms look okay. And then with Valap, we see the range of prices, and very conveniently, it shows us a map on the side, and you can click on each of these buttons to see what each property is achieving. It doesn't show you which property is £81 per week or £92 per week, but you can see in the different areas. Now, this is the road that property sits on, and if you come on here, you just look around the area. You've got a park there. I don't think the students will be going to any park. You've got a golf course. Will they go to a golf course? Doubt it. But how far is it from the university? You need to work out where the university is. Where's the university? You've got Primark there. You've got food stuff. And then university's right there. You've got McDonald's next to the university. So, alright, the other one I mentioned that we saw was Ashburn Road, which is right there, very close to the university. So you can see why they charge so much. Cooperative. So if we assume this is the university you're targeting, and the property is on this road, it looks like it's not far to walk, but you never know. Don't know what the distance is from there to the university. But these are things to think about. Would your students want to walk that distance, or would they have to catch a bus? And the convenience. And if it's more convenient, then you can charge accordingly. The other trend as well in Derby seems to be professionals taking on these HMO rooms. So find out the feasibility of that way, or going forward and seeing what that does. Not sure it's such a great idea to combine different tenant types, so student and professionals. There might be friction, so it's something to think about and ask agents in the area. Again, if you want to find an agent that can manage your property, do your research, search online, look at reviews for different agents. Just make sure that you get somebody who is ethical and who will send you your cash. Now, if you typically, a lot of agents tend to charge between 15 to 20%. So if we say 194 is what you're making, with a 15% already out of the window, you're left with 85%, that's 164. So 164, from that you need to pay all the bills and council taxes and whatever. So you have ample to earn enough. If you're putting down 25% to purchase this at 1.6 million, let's multiply that by 0.25. 400,000. So if you put 400,000 into a property deal and you're making 120,000 a year, or 120,000 or slightly less than that, it's not bad. So break even in 4 years. But remember these guys, they're coming in 2 years time, 2-3 years time, and there's another one in 2-3 years time. So protect your income and be prepared as best you can, and then do something. Just go for something. Either turn this down and find something else, or look for an alternative option or some other angle that you can provide. I gather that if you look after the properties really well, even when those new ones come on board, they tend to be a lot more expensive. You still have your students come to your property because you look after the property. They're nice, they're modern, they're clean, and it offers them what they want. So on that note, we'll stop for the day. My great find today is having the properties appear on the map and me being able to click on each one to see how much they command. So let's look at this one: 92 per week, 75, 61, 61. Yeah, those are further away. So yeah. Okay, actually no, they're not further away. So that's the university there. This one we're looking at is further away. Where is it? Anyway, you get the idea. Let's not stretch the video. So thank you very much for spending your time with me, and it's been a pleasure speaking to you today. And good luck with your investments, and let us know any thoughts, anything I've missed, any mistakes I've made. Put them in a comment, and should I say it? Yeah, subscribe if you want. Catch you later. Happy investing.